Welcome back, Smart Start Radio family. We have a very special episode today for our chats, our coffee chats. As you can see, our new person is the backbone of Smart Meetings. If you've never met him before, it's Malik Anderson. I'm really happy to have him. He is our amazing editor at Smart Meetings. He's been holding it down for, I want to say, 6+ years. Is that right?
Yeah, 6.5 years now.
And he is the magic man behind all things web related for Smart Meetings, and he has saved my life more times than I can count when regards to most things. So Malik, welcome to Smart Start Radio. We hope you enjoy and stay and come back.
Yeah, great to be here. As Eming said, I'm always in the background of things, so it's very interesting to be on the podcasting side. I never thought I'd be here today. But yeah, so I'm the digital content manager for Smart Meetings. I work on getting the stories on the website as well as writing stories for the web and the magazine. Um, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and so for this coffee chat, which was actually his idea, he suggested we talk about what the show's about, and that is the what you drink, your coffee, and kind of how important it is in events and how it acts as like this invisible rope between attendees and their experience at your events. And so I just want to jump in because, Malik and I travel quite a bit, as I said before in other episodes. And I was kind of curious, Malik, like you've been to a lot of events, I'm sure, over the course of your 6+ years. And what are some things that you've seen that are cool about, how events utilize, F&B or the coffee aspect of things?
hmm Well, so a lot of events, I think they place a lot of focus on food, but I wouldn't say
Mm-hmm.
so much coffee though. I feel like
Mm.
at a lot of events they kind of have a lot of focus on like having very specific foods or like making
Mm-hmm.
the food very presentable. But I feel like at most events I go to, the coffee is kind of in the background despite how fundamental it is. I mean, you kind of have the coffee in like in the cafes, and that's really about it. But I do definitely think that more attention should be paid to the coffee side of things because it's a very important part of meetings. Um,
Yeah, I think I said this to you last week or so. Like I've been the events I've been to, and I naturally kind of like my ears are always open because I'm always listening to people talk.
right.
And I've noticed a lot of times like people have a lot of thoughts on what's available in terms of like what's to drink for their coffee. And more recently, I think one time like people were annoyed because there were no um like for the cups they had cups, but they had like a no way to like properly bring your cup from the outside in because it might spill. And so people were kind of annoyed with that, or like if there's not like enough like options for like milk or lactose free or anything that fits their needs. And so when you mentioned this topic, I was like, actually, yeah, there's a lot of things to say about how people look at this in their events, because people, during breaks, they go get coffee or tea
Right.
or whatever. And, it's always nice when they have all the things there so that you're like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. You don't have to think about it. But then when the things aren't there that you want to be there, you
Right.
notice it. You're like, they didn't think about this. I don't know. Just it sounds kind of interesting.
I thought it very similar to like when technology is working and the moment it's no
Mm-hmm.
longer working, like everything kind of blows up. I think coffee is basically the same way. Something I was thinking
Yeah.
about this morning, which is like how I mentioned how you always find the like coffee in the back of the event, like in the cafe, and people kind of just get the hot coffees, but there's never
Right.
options for like any alternatives. It's only
No.
ever hot coffee with like milk or
Right.
half and half, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Or decaf or hot
right.
water. And sometimes, if you're lucky, they'll have like, I guess not lucky, but they'll have like, sometimes they'll have like, what is it? Like a juice situation sometimes, depending on where you are,
Mhm.
which is nice. but you know, not everyone likes juice.
I mean, even there, like I think coffee should be given more attention because people are, I guarantee you, people are drinking way more coffee from that entire list of things you just mentioned. Maybe
Right.
water too, but yeah.
Right. Fun fact about, I want to say 5 months ago, the creative team at Smart Meetings, we tried doing a monthly thing for our coffees to see
Good
how
times.
much we were drinking. And Malik won. Did you win one or two of those? I
I
can't
think I
remember
may have
which.
won twice.
Yeah. So because Malik works
Got lucky.
remote, we didn't fully explain to him the rules of this thing that we were doing with our coffee, and so he would I think for maybe like the first 3 months we weren't accurately marking how much coffee he was drinking, and then he realized the rules were like, if it's a shot that counts, if it's a cup it counts. And Malik apparently goes so hard on his coffee. We were all just but like no one. Like Malik is so chill. He's the chillest person in our team, and yet he drinks probably the most coffee, and yet maintains the fact that he is so chill. It's quite fascinating. I really respect you for that.
So what I normally do, what I've been doing is three triple shot Americanos a day. That's typically what I do. Uh,
3?
yeah, that's kind of been yeah the norm for a
How do
while. Yeah.
you so but so how does that work? Like just like from like 8 to like okay, what's the the range of time that you're
The time
drinking
frame.
these? Yeah.
So before work, around like 7-ish or so, I'll have a triple, and then
Okay.
normally around 11 or 12 I'll have another, which is the one I'm having right now, and then I might have another right before the end of work, like 4-ish. I give it a good. There's a lot of space between them, I think. But it
Okay.
is interesting though. I think I've been doing this for so long now. I definitely feel it if I only have two triples or one triple Americano. I might feel like I had nothing at all, and it's not great to be so dependent. Um,
No, that's true. That's
yeah,
true.
but I do love it.
I mean,
I'll probably never give it
yeah.
up.
So, out of curiosity, what how do you do it every morning? Is it like your own little like machine system, or is like a like beep beep boop bop the situation where you have to like punch in like a certain thing and then it produces said drink, or how do you usually do it?
So I got an espresso machine at the end of last
Mm,
year.
nice.
DeLonghi for the people who know espresso machines. Um,
Ooh, that's a fancy brand. Malik has his fancy triple shot drinks. Nice.
yeah, so it just does the espresso. So I'll do like a one double and then a triple, kind of like
Mm,
Americano
okay.
style. Usually do it
Mm,
hot.
okay.
Yeah. How do you take your coffee?
I like to do lattes personally, and I have a frother here in the office that I use. But when I just don't care, I'll just have a regular coffee with milk and a little bit of like a little bit of a not sugar per se, but just something sweet to like even out a little bit. But I'm very basic, although I'm not as hardcore as you or other people in our office who will go nameless. I won't out them as being coffee addicts, but um, yeah, we definitely noticed our habits of drinking coffee, and some of us actually stopped drinking a lot of coffee for that reason. So I thought that was,
Mm,
I guess, a
have to dial it
good
back.
thing. But one thing you mentioned is when folks go to big events, like what were we talking about?
Or
One in
like
Vegas, and I
IMEX.
can't. Yes, that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I have not been there, so I can't really speak on that. But I was curious, like when you're there at those kind of events, like what's the setup? Like, is there coffee like wall to wall? And if so, are there also lines wall to wall trying to get them? 'Cause I'm sure
So
people those things really need them.
no, there are definitely a lot of coffee spots. There are some like cafeteria type spots where they sell food and also coffee, and then you'll
Mm-hmm.
find the occasional area where you can find like regular coffee in the pots. But I was telling you
Mm,
the other day how I think it's like a quarter of the booths at IMEX, and IMEX is huge. There are like
mm-hmm.
10,000 people there.
Right.
But like a quarter of the booths, they have like coffee makers and baristas there, and you definitely do
Oh, nice.
notice more people at those booths,
Right.
kind of reeling all the coffee drinkers. I definitely have
Right.
gotten gotten into it a time or two.
Yeah, it's weird that they don't have those at regular events, like people to like customize your drink. Because I feel like people like that's why we have Starbucks. That's why we have Pete's. That's why we have those things, or Phil's for that matter. Yeah, I'm surprised that events don't think about that. Like we have bars for people who drink, but we don't have people brewing special drinks during the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, you
It's a
would
little
think.
weird.
Yeah, you were saying one of the people on our production team was talking about that. Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, it
Yeah,
really makes a whole lot of sense to personalize it more, given that it's such a huge thing. It really
yeah,
doesn't make much sense.
definitely. Like you sent me a link to a particular agency. I can't remember what it's called, but they like do that where well, they'll like have their pop up cart show up at events, which is really smart because I'm like I'm sure like everyone like they'll drink whatever's there obviously,
Right.
but it'd be even better if you had like a certain like cart or whatever carts to like hey we do custom drinks for your break come like it's great when they feed you like I always appreciate events that like feed us till
Hmm.
we're like dead, but I appreciate it more so when the coffee is thought about because like
Mm.
there's been so many events I've been to recently where people just like make comments about like how the coffee is, like, or the lack of coffee or lack of options for coffee. And it's like, actually, yeah, this is kind of it's an issue that we don't really talk about because it's like it's such a it's kind of in the background, as you would say, but it's there's not always a lot of care that goes into it because but people drink it like all day. Like if you walk out of a session and you're in the hallway, there's at least five people trying to get coffee
Yeah.
during a session. So it's like it's a there's a demand for it, but are people paying enough care to it? I don't know.
I think it's one of those things that people are just happy to have it. I think I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely
Yeah.
one of those. Like if I see coffee around, the fact that it's even there, I'm perfectly okay. I won't complain about it or anything. I'm just
Right.
happy to have coffee. But in meetings, we talk so much about personalization of events and of F&B. Yeah, why not personalize coffee and have people
Yeah.
have the lattes that they have at home when they're out and about at the meeting. They can also have their
Right.
latte in the event space.
Exactly. And like for example, when we're talking about like, using the coffee as like a way to like, bring people together, because that's kind of the whole point of these events is people coming together and you you create these coffee stands people go to, but you don't have the intention of like chat with people and it's more like grab and go, which is fine. But it's also like when you think about like what more you could do with it, like if you had an event like an IMAX at whatnot, and you're like, okay, we're gonna have a breakout, but like also like a meet and greet situation where people are like chatting and having networking or whatnot. But if you incorporate like coffee into it, like an actual like here, sit here, here's like a coffee thingy, talk, but also enjoy this here too. um I think it definitely adds to the level of like you're creating a space of people to like talk to each other and engage each other, and coffee always helps usually unless you're not into that, which is fine, and then you create another option of like tea or something else that's beneficial. But yeah,
I mean, have you seen any cool like coffee oriented team building ideas coming out of cities
there
or
was
hotels?
I have not seen it, but in a recent webinar that we did, um uh, they had someone they had a live stream of the farmers who who sorry who work on it, and they had like a chat over a video about it. And it was I'm like, okay, so like you know w- making it more like this is where this comes from, the people who made it for you in a way.
Yeah.
um That was cool. I don't think I've seen any particular intentional uses of coffee, which is why when you mentioned this topic, I was like, this is actually kind of interesting because I haven't seen a lot of this, or I could, even though it's so utilized, but not in a way that seems more mm, in a way that does more for you than it seems.
Hmm.
How about you? Have you seen anything fun done?
So
at
I've
events
seen.
or hotels.
So when I was researching an article for Ohio, I came
Hmm.
across a place called Coffee Connections, and
Ooh.
coffee shop, but they have a lot of team building ideas. Like they had this thing for like creating cold brew with your colleagues, or this thing called
Hmm.
like brush strokes and
Nice.
brews, which is kind of like
Hmm.
what is it? Like the paint and sip, but with coffee and paint.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
nice. That's cool.
And there was, I also
Yeah.
saw like a mug making class and then drinking coffee as well. Yeah. So I mean you see it around. It's just really weird. That was actually the first time I saw something very like team building, coffee
Yeah.
oriented. Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully someone went there after writing that article.
Hopefully, that'd be really cool. I mean, I know that it's like an extra lift to like think about things like that, but in like we write so much about how to like engage your audiences and how to make them like more intrigued outside of the surface of here, learn this thing that we're talking about. Um, but I think it definitely speaks to the level of effort when you really think about what's possible, like the idea of if it's a activation, even or just like a team building situation. I think it definitely it's I mean I would if if I were at an event that did that, I that would probably I would always that would be something that I thought was really cool. I was like, this event did this. And people walk away remembering those things, or they Instagram those things, and then it like spreads because people like are aware of it. And it makes people be like, oh, they really thought about us when they were planning this. Like they did the little extra things. And I think that's always helpful, especially like people are very like, you know, they're there and then they're not, and they go home and they leave and they forget it ever happened.
Hmm.
But the little extra things really, I think, help out in people appreciating the work that they did when they were there.
Yeah. So it's the things that people remember when they go back home. Because it's pretty easy to
Hmm.
forget everything that happened
Yeah.
like over the past few days.
Oh yeah, especially when you're like in sessions back to back. But like,
Right.
I was in Mexico, and wasn't part of the event. But when I went to go get breakfast, they had like these giant, I don't know what they're called, pots of coffee. You could just like get your own. That was so cool. I'm like, granted, I know I'm in Mexico, so this is different, but it's also very like it was engaging. I was like, this is amazing. I was like, this is actually really nice. You can just scoop my own coffee and put it in my cup.
Like it was like in a bowl.
I get it was I don't know what to call it. It wasn't a bowl. It was just like a it was huge. It was like a vase,
Okay.
a vase of coffee. But that was really cool. I really like that. I was like, I wish every spot had this
Yeah,
at
that
their
sounds super
events because
cool.
it was just so neat. But the one thing that drives me crazy about events and coffee is that when they give you a cup, the cup is like this small.
Hmm.
And I'm like, that's a gulp. And or for you, it's a sip probably because you're just like, I'm done. Give me more. Um, and I guess that goes into like into the area of like creating offering things that like everyone would like, and I know that's hard to do because everyone like they have to like order X amount of cups and this amount of
Right.
coffee and this amount of stuff. So I get that that's always an issue, but I'm like, is it so hard to just give me like a regular cup, like an 18 ounce, I'm sorry, an 8 ounce cup, that can hold like a sizable amount for me to drink for like the rest of the session. Because I always prefer having big cups to tiny cups, but that's just a personal preference. Um,
I think a lot of people probably feel the same. You mean? Yeah.
probably. Um, so when you've been to spots that have had sizable people and plenty of coffee, is there anything else that you've like noticed that people like say or do, or things that you wouldn't think about that kind of pop up as interesting?
Like coffee related.
Mhm.
Like I don't. You mentioned complaints to me. I don't ever really
Hmm.
hear complaints about coffee. I mean, I hear like the occasional like this coffee isn't that like great, but it's never like really things that have made me think about the way meetings do coffee. Um,
Mm.
yeah, like I said, I think people kind of just take what they can get as far as that goes. But it is, I will say, it is nice to host an event at a hotel or a convention center that has a nice coffee shop.
Hmm.
That way you only don't have that one option of like having just regular
Right.
black coffee.
Right. I mean, it's also great if people would like, if 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 like there's like a local spot that does fresh coffee stuff. I mean, it'd be great to like work with them and be like, hey, we have an event with 700 people. We'd love to work with you. We'd love to work with your brand. Um, I mean, that can't be that hard, right? Just, I mean,
I
I'm
wouldn't think
assuming
so.
that's a pretty easy thing to do, um, because
Sometimes
like,
I think to myself sometimes when things sound like super easy in my head, I think like no way it's actually that easy. That's probably why it hasn't happened yet, right? Like maybe the
maybe.
logistics of the thing actually aren't as easy as they seem in my head.
Yeah, true. Well, of course, we don't work in that realm of like contracts and stuff and approving things. Thank
True.
God. I don't think I could deal with that. But I don't know. I feel like if it's something that everyone uses for the most part, um, why are we not being more intentional about it? Like, I mean, after the eighth conference with the same kind of watered down coffee situation, it's like, cool, but if there was a Starbucks nearby, I would probably spend $7 and just do that because I know that's going to caffeinate me for the rest of this day
Right.
because I'm exhausted and I've been on a plane for 5 hours and I got 3 hours of sleep.
And
You know,
you're familiar with it, you know what it tastes like.
yeah, exactly. Like things that are familiar. Like there was, where was I? Was I in Florida? There was this one coffee spot in a resort that I was at, and they did like lattes and custom drinks. And I was like, yes. I was like, thank God. I was so happy. Because it's like, I don't know, just I really appreciate if I'm at an event or any kind of like trip for work, I appreciate finding custom made or custom designed coffee. Not that I need it because but I mean, no, I do need it because I'm usually really tired when I get to my location. Um,
Would you
but
like it fancy too?
yeah, I do like, I mean, yes, I like it fancy, but it just like, I always like perk up when I see like any Starbucks that's near my hotel. And I'm like, yes, I get to go. I get to run by there later, hopefully, if I have time. Yeah, I just kind of wonder like how that is for most people, like when they're traveling, because folks who are making events or they're going to events, like they're always on the road. I'm assuming for those who do drink coffee, I'm assuming that, they probably have like their go-to of what they like, but they have to
Right.
like probably adjust that when they're there because it's not probably what they have there for them. Like I remember ordering coffee from housekeeping. I don't know, it was just watered down and I was like, this is sad. I want like something stronger, like a
Yeah. Like
kick.
from an actual coffee shop. That makes sense.
Yeah. Especially like, if you're about to hit the like go on a fam trip and be up for like 15 hours, maybe not 15. Let's see, let's do 13. 13 hours. It's helpful. And I'm sure if you're doing events or especially if you're nonstop walking around a an event floor for all the different activations, like you need a little bit of a little thing, a little spark in your step.
Something I always do when I go on trips is I'll ask someone at the hotel or whoever organizes the event, like if there are any good coffee shops like nearby.
Mm,
And that's
yeah.
gotten me a lot of good
Oh, nice.
to a lot of good local coffee shops. And I'm pretty sure these
Okay.
places probably cater to like maybe if you're a meeting planner, maybe reach out to
Yeah.
these coffee shops that are nearby the
Yeah.
convention center and try to get them to come by.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, so Okay, so now I'm curious. What's been the best coffee you've had while on the road?
So when I was in Canada, where was I? In Calgary previously.
Calgary.
Earlier
Love Calgary.
this year. There was, I forget the name, but some woman introduced me to a local coffee shop that was in downtown. The name was like Sebastian and something.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
I'll look it up and it'll come right to me after this call, I'm
Sure.
sure. But
No worries.
definitely one of my favorites. And I'll tend to
Nice.
only get Americanos from most places, but like some of these
Ah,
places have such distinct differences in their Americanos, and this one was
right.
really good and memorable in Calgary.
That's your favorite that you've had?
It's been my favorite. Made me want to move to Calgary.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Coffee?
It makes you want to
Wow.
pick up your
That's a
entire life and go somewhere
wow.
else.
Leek fell in love with coffee, like severely in another country. I mean, it's not that
Yeah.
far, but it's far enough. Wow. I don't think I can move for coffee. That'd be a big step emotionally for myself to do that for coffee. But I can understand why you would want to.
Have you had a favorite coffee spot recently?
Not recently. Nothing that's like new and different. I think the last one I had was a Starbucks because it was literally like half a block from my hotel, and I was like, bet I'm going to Starbucks every morning. No, I don't think I've had one that I like am in love with. I think I had one in, where was I? I don't even know where I was. Was it Memphis? No, it wasn't Memphis. It was something. It was, I think, a trip I had last year. Um, I remember I had some good coffee, and I was like, it was just what I needed for that moment to for the rest of my day. But no, nothing. I've seen there was this one spot I went to, this cafe I went to where they actually um, do their beans in house, and they have it all like the front is essentially where it would happen. It wasn't actually working when we were there, but it was really cool.
Hmm.
The whole setup for it, which is kind of cool. So it's like, and it's a big space. So you can um, you know, bring your group there or something to that effect. But
Where do we see it going, including AI? Oh, there was recently actually in Las Vegas, Starbucks had their
mm,
first ever coffee latte art competition. I'm not sure
really,
where it was. I'm guessing Las Vegas Convention
you
Center.
didn't go?
I found out about it like the next day. Um, yeah,
That
but
would have been cool.
I thought that was really cool. They brought a bunch of like I think like 12 baristas from different Starbucks around the world, not even just the U.S. And they had them
Hmm,
compete here. And
that's cool.
and I think the person who won got their own like personalized uh, latte that they're going to sell at Starbucks. Yeah, this was earlier this year. I forgot exactly who won or where, but yeah.
That's cool. Wait, how many people were in the competition? Do you
I think
remember?
I think just 12 who actually like got to Las Vegas. 'Cause I think they had smaller
Okay.
regional competitions, and then
Mm-hmm.
they brought
Right.
everyone here. Yeah,
Well, that sounds fun and a little scary.
yeah. There were a lot
I
of
don't
people
think
in the crowd.
yeah. Wow. Wait, so do you know what the new drink is called that this person won for?
I'm not sure.
Hmm.
I didn't go deep enough
Interesting.
into it.
Fair enough. Um, yeah, that's cool. Like, because I mean, I guess depending on the event you're hosting, like if it's specifically like like an F&B event that has that kind of focus in it, that kind of stuff would be kind of cool. Like, I went to one event that it wasn't necessarily F&B, but they had an F&B like um, uh, um thing where these chefs from across the world and the U.S. would each made like their it was like Chopped in real life. I don't know if you've
Okay.
seen Chopped.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like that. And so that was really cool to like see them like spend like half an hour like making their dishes and like you could like walk around and look at them. Um, so it might be kind of cool to like see like a coffee barista like make like their like extreme version of like a latte,
Yeah.
not like my basic latte, but like an actual like fancy latte. That'd be kind of cool actually. Maybe we should um try to get our our next event to sponsor something like that. That'd be actually kind of cool.
That would be really cool. We should tell Michelle about it.
I'll drop her a note. By the way, the podcast says that you should do a coffee event.
They're holding you to it.
Yeah. One thing that we've talked about in other podcasts, or the most recent podcast for F&B, is the fact that a lot of events don't really cater towards people who don't drink alcohol. And so I kind of wonder if that's the same vein for caffeine sometimes, because I see a lot of like soda drinks um, or coffee
Yeah.
and black tea at events. But and you know, like I said, there's juice sometimes, which is very rare in my opinion. I've seen that. Um, so in the same vein of like having coffee that's customized, um, I kind of wonder because there's so many different kinds of coffee available. There's cold brew, decaf, and there's probably more that I can't even think of right now. But I wonder if we're ever going to reach a point where you know people think about coffee the way they think about just like how they offer food. Like, you know, there's different options and variations, and they're easily fixable um, in the back somewhere. Like, oh, I can't do milk. Oh, I can't do oat milk. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, that. Um, or you know, just I can't drink regular coffee because I have a reaction to it, and decaf doesn't work for me either, or something to that effect. I don't know. Random thought. Just thought it was interesting, like, you know, that we don't the majority rules, obviously,
Right.
in terms of like what people like, and that's what people bring to the table because of that reason. But I kind of wonder, like, if you know, it's not since everyone doesn't drink coffee.
So you're talking like more
Um,
caffeine alternatives, or just drink
yeah,
alternatives in general?
drink alternatives, the caffeine that. 'Cause I know we talked about like mushroom coffee at some point, which I have not tried that, but I've
That's
heard it's good. Um, but yeah, if there were other options for coffee that don't necessarily have pack the same concept of like caffeine, but leave people there feeling, you know, happy about themselves and energized. I remember I was visiting one hotel recently, and they gave us like the shot of like juice. It was like I don't even know what it was in it, but
those
it was
like
like
cleansing
this
shots.
immediate like pick me up. I was like, wow, that
Yeah.
felt really good. I was like, can we get some more of that? Stuff like that. Like it can be small things, but it's very I don't know. I think some like those small aspects of giving someone like a drink that's you know just makes them feel good,
Yeah.
whether it's coffee or not coffee. I think it's important that people you know have those options, especially at events,
I
because
think it's
everyone has
like as
different things.
right. Like there are like wellness events, like Caesars has done that in the past with the wellness road
Right.
shows. They have like
Right.
those like they do like juice shots, that kind of thing. But it's
Mm,
I think it's less of an alternative to coffee and more it's like a part of the overall wellness program. But it would be
yeah.
cool to include those shots as an alternative as at a regular event if it makes you
Right.
energized like you felt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes, coffee is great and it does help, as I'm sure you know, because you drink 9 shots a day, which I still can't get over that. So, okay, this is
Maybe they
kind of going
shouldn't.
back to no, I don't think I could. So, do you, so after you drink all your coffee, are you just like, you never, like, is your heart rate like ever up higher than it usually is? After, no, you're just like, you're so chill. It just stays below a certain number and never rises.
I think I'm still like I've always been. I think that might be like drinking that much might be like baseline. I can drink coffee at all hours really and still be able to go to sleep. It doesn't.
Really? You can sleep with caffeine like that at
Uh,
like 6 o'clock at night?
like 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Oh, you are a special creature, Malik. How many people can do that? Enjoy it while you still
A
can.
lot of a lot of caffeine. Yeah, I'm
Wow.
sure that'll change at some point. But
Probably.
I've heard stories of people like at age 40 they're unable to drink coffee like they were used to. That'd be really sad, but I had a good run.
Okay. My 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 last question for you is if you could pick one drink that's coffee based to have for the rest of your life, what would you have? And if you say Americano, I'm gonna
So,
laugh at you.
so that was my answer. So let's just exclude Americano because that is the number one. I feel like that's probably a given by this point. But there's a coffee shop out here called the Coffee Class, and they have a brown sugar latte. And
Ooh,
yeah, I think that might be the go-to. It kind of tastes like a little like a churro-y a little bit, but
okay.
delicious, yeah. And typically what I do is with the lattes, it comes with 2 shots, and I'll add a shot, so it's a triple shot latte, and perfect, it's perfect.
Okay. That sounds yummy. Wait, that's in Vegas?
Yeah, in Vegas.
Ooh. How often do you go there?
Like once every other weekend, maybe.
Nice. That's cool. So, Malik, this being your first time in the coffee chat, A, did you enjoy it? B, would you come back? And C, do you have anything else you want to leave our audience before we bounce?
I enjoyed it. I would definitely come back. I think something I learned is I should probably be a slightly more prepared with examples and ideas. But I think this has been cool. And and what was the last question? Any?
Is there anything you want to impart on our audience before we leave today on your coffee experience or love of coffee? Because as I outed you to being a severe coffee drinker on our team.
Uh, a coffee a day keeps the doctor away.
I don't know if that's accurate, but we'll take it. We'll take it. I believe Malik is usually right, so I'm gonna take that as true. Um, cool. Well, Malik, we hope you do come back in the future for future
Absolutely.
episodes, whatever that may be, whether it's the coffee chat or the regular monthly podcast. You're welcome to
Thanks for
return.
having me.
Always. And thank you, Smart Start family, for being here and listening. And we'll see you next time.